think they're messing with us.
No.
Welcome to the Oshkosh Area School Board segment of the forum, presented by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County and Oshkosh Community Media Services Television City Cable 10. This event will also be simulcast on WOCT 101.9 FM, Oshkosh Community Radio. This segment is unusual. It is likely that the three candidates on the ballot will be elected to the three open seats. The term of office is 3 years. Although these candidates do not face opposition, the League believes it is important for voters to meet them and understand their priorities. Therefore, we have sent you questions in advance and have asked you to prepare answers in advance, and there will be no audience questions. Candidates include incumbent Allison Garner and newcomers Jim Evans and Kelly Olmstead. Margie, why don't you start with the first question?
Okay, our first question, as you know, is please tell us about your background and why you are seeking election or re-election to the Oshkosh Area School District Board. And we'll start with Jim Evans.
Okay. Well, it seems like when you tell someone that you're running for public office, the first thing they say is, you are? Why? So I've gotten this question before. And for me, it's because the Oshkosh school system is responsible for me calling Oshkosh home. And it isn't just because my parents taught in the school system here. There's a bit more, or as Paul Harvey would say, this is the rest of the story. I know some of the people got that reference. Way back in the 50s, my family was living in Kimberly, where my father was employed as an art teacher. My sister, because of an illness, lost her hearing at a very young age. And for students who are deaf, the sooner you can get them into the classroom, the better it is for their development. And it just so happened that the Oshkosh school system had an opening for an art teacher. And my father was hired to teach art, first at South Park, and then later at the high school. And my family moved here, and my sister began her education at the age of 3, and 1 year later, I came along. My schooling took place in Oshkosh, where I attended these great Oshkosh schools: Emline Cook, the now shuttered Sunset, Webster Stanley, and Oshkosh North, where I played clarinet in the band, and was a photographer for the newspaper and yearbook, and was one of the representatives of Badger Boy State. After graduating from UWO with a BFA degree, I worked at a number of retail businesses in Oshkosh and Neenah, and then decided to open up my own store, Art House, that I have now owned for the past 23 years. I'm a founding member and current president of ArtSpace Collective, and through ArtSpace, I was instrumental in the monthly gallery walks, in starting those. I'm also a board member of BID, which is a downtown business improvement district, and I was proud to have been named as a community representative for the first Oshkosh School District Budget Reconciliation Committee, where I learned about the many complexities of the budget and gained a better understanding of how the school district is funded. I should always be grateful for my public education, the teachers that I had, and the opportunities I was able to take part in. And I want to do all I can to ensure that those same opportunities are not only available for today's students, but also for the students of tomorrow.
Thank you, Jim. Allison?
Well, I'm running for my seat again. I've been on the board now. This will be my 4th year. And I ran originally because I was just getting more and more frustrated with the closures of our neighborhood schools. And it got my attention because, of course, they're going to close my school. So I started getting involved in the board meetings. And then at one point, the president of the board called me at home and he said, why don't you join the board? And I said, well, why would anybody want to do that? I'd rather criticize than actually get up there and fix anything. So I did. I ran, and I made it on the board. And the first 2 years were pretty hairy. I really struggled. But now it seems like we have a really great administration. We have a really great school district. I really, really love Oshkosh. And we have so much momentum going that I want to see it through. So I'm really enjoying myself right now. My personal side is I'm married, let's see, it's 17 years. Gosh, I hope my husband isn't watching. I have 2 children, 5th and 6th grade, and I work as an engineer. I'm a chemical engineer in the oil industry. And I'm also on the board at Jacob Shapiro, the neuroscience charter school here, which we're turning into a STEM next year. So, yeah.
Thank you. And Kelly?
First of all, I wanted to say thank you for inviting me. This is a great opportunity for me, being new to this. My name again is Kelly Olmstead, and I've lived in Oshkosh now for about 20 years. I came here from a smaller city. I currently have left my career after 17 years in the wedding business. I've decided to dedicate more time to my family, and I wanted to give more back to my community. I currently am married, and I have 3 children in the district. I have a junior at West, and I have a 5th grader at Green Meadow, and I have a 2nd grader at Lakeside. So I have, next year I'll have middle, high school, and elementary school, so I have a good eye on every aspect of that. And I got involved with the schools like Allison did many years ago because my children go to Lakeside, so I got involved with the Lakeside Green Meadow Southside issues at that time. I was the president of the PTO for 3 years, and then I moved on and I started helping the district with the surveys and the calls that we made to the different, the community of what we wanted to do with the South Side. And then I also was on the design team for the addition to Lakeside, which we broke ground. Very excited about that too. So it just seemed that my next step would be to run for school board. I'm invested in the community. I'm invested in the education here. I think it's an important role. I think being on the school board is probably one of the most important roles any citizen can take. The school board has an enormous responsibility when you're on the school board for the community and the children and the parents. Every decision you make, all the policies you make affects the entire community as a whole and economic development of your community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second question you also received in advance, and it's deliberately global, so we want you to hone in on it. List 2 or 3 major problems facing the school district. What approach would you take to solving them? And we'll give you 2 minutes, and we'll start with Allison Garner.
Okay. Well, for me, in my opinion, I think the biggest problem that our district faces is that we're losing students, and we net out about 100 kids a year. And every time we lose a kid, the dollars, the state aid and federal aid that follows that child to the school that they go to. So that reduces our funding. It also cuts our state aid because whatever we spend, that is part of the formula for the following year. So that really hurts us. And just last night at our board meeting, our bond rating, we're at a AA2, which is, I believe, the 3rd highest level that you can have. But one of the reasons that we're that high is because we have a very good fiscal management of the district, and every time we lose more kids, that bond rating is at risk. So my biggest concern right now is losing kids. What we did this past year is the UW Oshkosh was kind enough to put together a survey, and they surveyed parents that open enrolled their children both in and out of our district, and then we took those results and we prioritized basically what the parents were saying, and then surprisingly, the #1 reason students leave or come into our district is convenience. And that is absolutely not what any of us thought the first answer would be. So we have got to hit some home runs when it comes to convenience. If that's why people are leaving or if that's why people are coming, we better exploit that. Plus, we have a lot of schools, which, can be good and bad. So our neighborhood schools should be very convenient, so we got to make sure we keep kids in our district. The second issue was safety and school size. The third was quality or individualized education. I think we're attacking that right now. Not sure what to do about safety and school size. The fourth reason was extracurriculars and access to tech, which we are working on with the referendum. And then the fifth is ease of communication, which I think we're working pretty hard on right now, trying to get that better. So that was my one. That wasn't 2 or 3, and I'm out of time.
Okay. Thank you. Kelly.
I am going to echo Allison. My #1 major problem, or I would say is a challenge, is of course the budget. From my understanding, we're going to be underfunded again from the state level. Being a new board member, I don't have complete understanding of that budget. So my #1 goal is to go in on the school board and learn that budget in and out so that I can make, educated decisions. Also using and having an open mind and a responsibility to the students in the community. And I will also look to educators and parents and community members for feedback on those issues and what's important to everyone. As my second major challenge, is Allison, is Recruiting and retaining students in the district. I also understand that we're losing about 100 students each year to open enrollment. We need to put every effort we can in retaining the current students and attracting any new students to our district. I do understand that the survey was done. I don't know all of the survey like Allison does. I wanted to dig into that survey, get every detail. What's convenient about it? Is it each detail of why they said those things I want to know so that I can change that and move that trend to keeping those students in there. I want to make Oshkosh a desirable district for families to come to and keep their children in the district.
Thank you very much. Jim Evans.
The current board is a very functional board, and I think Kelly and I are going to not upset that at all because I have the same two problems that I think. I think one of the difficulties the school district is going to face is what's been in the news, the budget, as they said. No one knows what the funded budget is going to look like, but as it stands now, it's not a very education-friendly budget. I don't know why some people in Madison think that's a good idea to balance the budget on the back of schools, but I don't think it's very wise. If Madison does nothing and we are faced with this anti-education budget as it stands now, the district will need to make some very unpopular choices. I was recently asked if I had to set a list of cuts that I would be willing to make. I do not. I don't think that it would be beneficial for me to come in with a slash and burn agenda. Fortunately, the district has held 2 community-based budget reconciliation committee, both of which prepared lists of options that the district could implement if there is a budget shortfall. And I feel that those recommendations would be a good place to start this discussion. Another issue, again, that we've talked about is the retention and recruitment of students. For every student that district adds, we get additional funding from the state. For every student that leaves the district, we lose that funding. It's not hard to see why adding students is a good idea. So much so that just last week I saw an ad on TV from the Green Bay area school district advertising the benefits of sending your child to Green Bay. This is why creating opportunities in our schools is so important and why cutting programs results in a less attractive choice for enrollment.
Thank you. Question 3 that you've had before is, select the goal from the school district strategic plan that you believe is most important. Talk about district progress in meeting this goal and specific actions that need to be taken in your opinion. You have 2 minutes for this, and this time we'll start with Kelly.
I don't believe that any goal is more important than any other goal in the entire strategic plan. I think they all need to be addressed, they all need to be focused on, and they all need to be completed. However, I do think that there needs to be an emphasis on priority number 5 as a whole, which includes the goal of reversing the current trend of open enrollment. So what I would put my most focus on and what the specific actions I would do completely correlate with what I think the major challenges in our district. They're one and the same for me. So in the most of everything in priority number 5 will absolutely help with the recruiting students, attracting students, keeping students. That whole priority seems to be a real base to be able to do that and to move forward with the revenue with our district and be able to attract students.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, there are a lot of good goals in the Oshkosh Area School District strategic plan. I guess strategic is the key word for tonight. And the district's done a good job of meeting these goals, with many of them rated 100% met already. So I made my choice of what goal I would feel that I would choose from. I picked from the ones that weren't rated 100% complete yet. And one of the things that the 3 of us did during the course of this campaign was to attend the district-wide PTO meetings. I found these meetings to be very beneficial to me, so I'm selecting goal A2, foster and grow the citywide PTO. According to the district website, this is about 48% met. At these meetings, I got a sense that participation by parents is really good in the K through 5 grades, but then it starts to fall off in the middle school and high school. It was also evident that the Ps were well represented, but they would like more Ts involved. One of the ways the district is working with this is that since Act 10, teachers have to, in order to earn merit, they have to acquire points. And one of the points is through service to the community, and attending these PTO counts towards that community service. So hopefully that will maybe increase teacher participation. I also plan to continue attending these district-wide PTO meetings at least quarterly, and if I can make it, I'd like to attend what I, for some reason, call local PTAs, but the PTAs associated with the schools. I'd like to attend some of those meetings too if I could. It was also mentioned last week that if they had a meeting in a more social setting, for some reason attendance skyrocketed. So I would look at maybe doing more of those types of meetings to increase the attendance for that.
I believe wine parties help.
Yeah.
That is true, with my experience. When we went out, or if there was after social events, more people came.
Allison, your thoughts?
Okay, well, I guess I would say that the number one goal was the number one goal for a reason, and that's because the community felt out overwhelmingly that our teachers weren't really appreciated, and talk to any teachers and they'll tell you they don't feel very appreciated. So I feel like that's something that we still have to attack. We do have a new compensation system, and it was something that was put together by a committee of teachers, and we've now implemented it. And so what I really want to do is get some feedback on that. I want to know after a year, how do we feel? Is everybody on board? How can we tweak it? And let's keep working with it. Just because we have it this way doesn't mean it has to stay this way. So I'd like a lot of feedback and suggestions on how we can improve that. I feel like the workload on teachers is so overwhelming that that's one of the reasons. I think my theory is that that's a symptom. It's the cause of why teachers can't participate more often. I think they have too much on their plates. We've dropped a ton of work on them. The state and the feds, with all of the standardized testing, especially at the elementary level, it is overwhelming. And when you talk to the elementary school task force, you can't imagine trying to do what they do in a day. When they laid it all out for us at one of the meetings, I just said, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how to get that done. So we need to unload them. We have implemented a new system called Infinite Campus that we now can have parents and students and teachers are all looking at the same system. We have, K through 12, everybody's now in the same system, and we're having some hiccups. We have got to address those, and we've got to address them quick. And I don't think we're doing a very good job of getting that done very quickly. So I want that turned around faster. The counseling department is offering training to reduce behavioral issues because those have also skyrocketed, which adds to stress loads for teachers. I would like more autonomy and innovation, which we're going to work through, and the board has some funds set up for that. And then lastly, I really want to improve communication. We've got to be able to sell what we're doing here. If we're going to be competing with television commercials with Green Bay, we better get our marketing going.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I think we have time for the optional question, which is a 1-minute question. And this is, ask and answer the question you wish we had asked. And we'll start with anybody that wants to start. Jim, you want to go for it?
I think a question that I would like to have been asked is, what do I think of my two fellow people here? And I got to say that I have enjoyed our time that we spent together at certain functions, and could not have hoped for two better people to be running with. And I look forward to voting for all three of us on April 7th.
Oh,
Thank you, Jim.
yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't follow that. Can you follow
I
that?
know. I was on a positive note, too. I wish that I was asked some of the positive things that are happening in the district. I agree with Allison. I love Oshkosh. I am so happy that my children are all here. I think Oshkosh has so much to offer as an adult and as children and as seniors. Just Oshkosh is a great community. I wish that the focus wasn't, obviously it always is the focus is always on things that need to be changed and improved. Sometimes I just wish that the focus and the things are on the positive things. The current school board has done a phenomenal job with with strengthening the relationship that they've had with the community. It hasn't always been where it is now, and I think that they really pulled it back and put it in the gear and focused and used the values of the community and moved forward. So I'm grateful for what that school board has done, and they've done hard work. And so I'm very happy to be able to be on that and move that forward.
Thank you. Allison, did you get a chance to answer the question?
Well, I love what you guys said. I think the one other thing that I just want to highlight, and one of the things that I get asked about a lot, is how come we're always so broke, and how come we never have enough money? Yeah. And one of the things I wish people knew about was the increase in the needs of our students. And I didn't truly appreciate it until I got on the board, and the needs of our students are increasing exponentially. And we are fighting hard to keep up with that, and we're fighting hard to make sure that everybody's trained and everybody's on board and we're doing all the right things, but we're really struggling to keep up with that. And I hope that the board and the administration and teachers and parents can all help the community become more aware of the high needs that our students are coming to school with now.
Okay, thank you very much. You've raised some very, very interesting questions in your little bitty informational segment here, and I thank you for that. However, we must conclude the Oshkosh Area School Board informational segment of the forum. You may vote for all of these candidates for a 3-year term on the Oshkosh Area School Board because the 3 candidates are seeking 3 open seats. The election is Tuesday, April 7. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and you may register when you go to vote on Election Day. Take a proof of residence with you. For this election, no voter ID is required. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, Oshkosh Community Media Services, Television City Cable 10, and Community Radio WOCT 101.9 FM, I want to thank the candidates and the panel members, Margie Davey and Ann Marshall earlier, for participating in this forum. Finally, thanks to our audience in the studio and those tuning in via television, radio, or streaming video. Our democracy depends on citizen involvement. Please vote on April 7th. Let's give them a round of applause.